What would you do as your first move if you were Attorney General?
Well, you have to triage, right? So prosecution right now is flatlined. You got to get those guys back. There are a lot of people that are still here on Guam that want to go back, but they're just waiting, right? They're waiting for better conditions. Now, it's not totally true that the problems at the AG's office is for lack of attorneys, because how then do you explain that the public defender and the alternate public defender are full, and oh, by the way, there's a waiting list for people to come work there, right? And how do you explain that a dozen of the attorneys that are there now at alternate public defender, as well as the Civil Law Center, a dozen came from the Attorney General's office. So it's not that there's a general lack of attorneys on Guam, it's where do they want to work? And so that feeds into the problem of why prosecution is flatline, is because you just are drowning, you're overwhelmed, right? And I give kudos to those who are there right now and still fighting the good fight, because they're saints. They're honestly saints. Some of them are just waiting to find an opportunity to leave, and there isn't. And so right now they're just waiting. Now, just last week we had 2 leave again. So that's unfortunate. But we've gotten some people in. The office has brought some people in. We've been seeing some new faces. And so I'm hopeful that, because I'm about the system, the criminal justice system. I'm not pro-defense or pro-prosecution. I'm about having the whole entire system work. Because my idea of justice is when we have a functioning and fair system. Whether we have convictions, acquittals, plea bargains, or dismissals, as long as the process was fair and functional, then the end result is justice. So you don't look for wins or losses, you look for justice. And that comes from my training as a military attorney. We're taught it's not about the end result. That's not justice in and of itself. It's about whether the process to get to that end result was fair and adequate. And so if we don't have an adequate system and thereby it becomes unfair, then we don't have justice, right?
So Pete, what exactly you see as a problem? Because you keep reiterating that the process is broken. Somehow, am I understanding correctly?
Yes, if you ask the judges, just last week I sat in so many hearings where the judges were complaining. You have judges now that are actually doing the role of prosecution and settling cases, which is highly unusual. What does that sound like? It sounds like receivership, right? And the reason why they're doing that is because, to quote one judge, if we wait for you, we're going to wait for 3 years. If we wait for you, it's never going to happen, right?
So, meaning to say, from
prosecution, they're waiting
the
for prosecution.
So basically, the prosecutor is overwhelmed. There's too many cases to handle. They don't have the workforce to handle the cases.
That's one aspect, but an even more important aspect, none of them have discretion.
Explain that.
So normally, prosecutors are trusted to work out their cases and come to a fair and just resolution. Mm-hmm. Right now, not even a petty misdemeanor can be negotiated. Prosecutors have been made impotent because every single case has to be blessed off personally by the guy on top.
Okay, so...
And we're waiting months and months just to hear back.
No, I just want to touch on, and thank you for using Doc's lingo, flatline. Doc, I think that's something, right? So, but it can get restarted, right, Doc? I mean, if we jolt it,
yeah,
right, we can get a little bit of a heart
He's
back
the defibrillator.
Defibrillator.
Yeah. I mean, that's maybe we'll nickname you,
right?
Kind of get everything jump started. But why do you say that it is flatline? Right
because
now?
I'm in the system and I see it every day. I hear the judges complaining. The reason why DOC is overcrowded is because GPD is doing their job and cases are not moving along. And so that's why, and what is stopping the cases from moving along? If you ask any judge, I will bet you $1,000. Any of the judges right now, ask them, what's keeping the cases from moving along? It's prosecution.
Okay, so the process, because this is like a chain link of events that needs to occur from point A, from arrest to filing the official complaint, to going to, I guess, the first hearing, if the judge orders or whatever, the parties don't come to a deal, then we go to a trial. So from A to Z, if one of those chain links is broken, then the entire system falls apart. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, and speaking of the first step, which is magistrate, we're seeing about a 40 to 50% fail rate because the magistrate complaints are not being written technically correct.